Hello and welcome to another video. I'm Everett Hoffman, and this is my first video of 2021, so I figured why not start the year off right and give you guys 21 camera tips. Now I know what you're thinking, holy shit, that's a lot of camera tips, so I'm gonna try to run through them as quickly as possible, so let's go ahead and get started. Tip number 1, if you're shooting outside during the day, then your camera's ideal ISO setting should be set to 100, or if you're shooting at night or in low light situations, then the minimal ISO you should use is 800. If you wanna learn more about ISO, check out the video I made all about ISO. I'll go ahead and link it in the description below, and I'll put it in the top right here. Tip number 2, if you're shooting handheld, then your shutter speed should be set to 50 or over. This is going to eliminate any motion blur that you're gonna get in your photos from your hands moving around. If you shoot less than 50, then the chances are you have to have really steady hands, your camera needs to be on a tripod, or you have to put it on a stable surface. Number 3, if it's still too bright outside and your camera ISO is already on 100, and you don't wanna crank up your aperture or your shutter speed, then you need to buy an ND filter. Now, an ND filter is basically sunglasses for your lens, and they sell these in increments that'll come in kits. This is an ND2, this is an ND4, and this is an ND8. Now, they sell them in smaller and bigger kits depending on what you want to buy, but they also sell something called a variable ND, and this one allows you to adjust the strength of the ND filter by turning the dial. Number 4, if you decide to buy an ND filter for your lens, then make sure you buy the right size ND filter. This will be labeled somewhere on your lens or on the inside of your lens cap right here. Number 5, since we're on lens accessories, if you're trying to shoot through a window like a car windshield or something and there's a huge glare on it preventing you from seeing through the window, then you can either A, change your camera angle until you can see through the window, or B, buy a lens polarizer. Now this will attach to the outside of your lens like an ND filter does, and all you have to do is turn the dial until you can see through the window. Number 6, back on the exposure side of things, if you increase your shutter speed, that's going to make your image darker but give you less motion blur, and if you decrease your shutter speed, then that's gonna make your image brighter but introduce more motion blur. Number 7, if you're shooting a video, don't change your shutter speed to adjust your exposure. Don't do it. Change everything else but that. Number 8, if you're shooting a video, then your shutter speed should always be 2 times your frames per second. If you want to learn more about shutter speed, go ahead and check out my video. I'll link it down below and up in the corner. Number 9, if you want to get a blurry background, then bring your f-stop down to a lower number and then focus on something in the foreground. If you want to learn more about aperture, then I have a whole video about that too. You can check it out in the description below, and I'll link it up in the top right here. Lots of video links, lots of video links. Funny how that works. Video links. Number 10, this is called bokeh. You can achieve this by lowering your aperture and then making those lights out of focus. Number 11, the higher your f-stop number, the more you're going to have in focus at once. And number 12, the lower your f-stop number, the less you will have in focus at once. Number 13, if you plug your SD card into your camera and you get this error, then don't panic, just take the SD card out and throw it away. No, I'm kidding, don't throw it away, don't throw it away. The chances are the little switch on the side of the SD card just got moved down to the lock position. So all you have to do is take that little switch and move it up away from the lock icon and then plug the SD card back into your camera and you should be good to go. Number 14, don't use autofocus when shooting a video. It's just gonna mess stuff up. It's gonna be searching for what to focus on, and it's never gonna focus on what you want it to focus on. So just do manual focus. Number 15, if you're shooting inside and you don't have any lights, then move over to a window, open up the blinds, or pull back the curtains to let that daylight in, and that should give you a very natural, bright, diffused light. Number 16, if you're trying to achieve a horizontal movement and you don't have a slider or a dolly track, then you can take your camera and put it on a piece of cardboard or on a dish rag or a piece of cloth and then pull that cardboard or cloth across the surface and you should get similar results to a slider. Number 17, if you have hard shadows on your subject, then you need to diffuse your light source to make those shadows softer. Now, if you don't have diffusion, you can use a white bed sheet or you can use a white shower curtain. Just be careful with the white shower curtain because if it's too close to your light source, then it's gonna melt right through this and probably catch on fire. Number 18, if you can't afford lights, then go to Home Depot and buy these canned lights with a clamp on the end, and also get a daylight balanced light bulb. And you can get 3 of these at a pretty low cost, and now you have a basic 3-point lighting setup. And if you pair it with the previous tip, now you have diffusion for your 3-point lighting setup. It might look a little bit unprofessional, but we all have to start somewhere. I still have these. It's clearly beat up because I've used it so much. I still use it on my shoots today. It's a very good tool to have in your tool bag. Number 19, don't shoot on full auto. You should really be shooting in manual so you can learn what each and every setting does. Number 20, every lens has a minimal focus distance. So if you're trying to focus on something close up and you can't get sharp focus, the chances are you're gonna have to take a step back so you can then get sharp focus. Now, if you wanna focus on stuff super close up, then you're gonna have to get a macro lens or a probe lens. And finally, number 21, when you're taking photos, make sure your camera is set to RAW+JPG. That way you have the RAW file that has all of the good information in it, and you have a backup JPEG file. This can also be useful if you're sharing photos with a client and you're uploading them on the internet. Then you can use the JPEG files because they're gonna be significantly smaller. That's all I got for this one. Tune in next week when hopefully I have another fun surprise. Let me know which tip was your favorite in the comments below. As always, like and subscribe for more content like this. Skiddly bop that bell to be notified when I post another video. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next one.